Hello, good morning, and welcome to today's training on cybersecurity job outlook and the rise of AI, artificial intelligence. My name is Kimberly Farmer, and I'm with Dark Zebra Training, and I'm excited to talk about this. Job outlook and just job employment in general is something that I'm passionate about, helping people find new jobs and looking at the data behind that. Just as a reminder, these trainings are free and available for anyone to attend. We put them on social media. Also, if you are looking to maintain a cybersecurity certification, such as Security Plus, Dark Zebra provides the opportunity for you to purchase an attendance certificate for $10, and that will just give you a certificate showing that you attended a 1-hour training for your CEUs. You can go to darkzebra.com to look at details there. But with that, I want to talk about where we're headed and today in the next hour. I want to look at the job market by the numbers. We'll look at some statistics, in particular two studies, the ISC squared workforce study, which has been published for the past 5 years, to look at what cybersecurity practitioners in the field are currently seeing and how they've responded based on their cybersecurity focus. We're also looking at unemployment and job market statistics, both in salary and in a projection for the job growth within the cybersecurity career field. And we'll look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, raw data, as well as the Occupational Outlook Handbook that is a publication from the BLS using that data. We'll also put a heavy focus on artificial intelligence and its impact on the cyber career market. It's AI, as we all know, is massive. It's here to stay, and it is impacting not just the cybersecurity workforce, but all industry and all careers. And we'll look at how vast cybersecurity career field really is. One thing I do love about cybersecurity is that there's no room to get bored. If you've been doing something for a while within cybersecurity and looking to maybe make a change, just continue learning in a different area, cyber is massive. Not to mention just artificial intelligence impact and how whatever you are doing has room to grow because of AI. We'll look at that, the landscape and how vast the field is. And finally, we'll wrap up just looking at the Security Plus learning domains and how what jobs align to the different domains and just how this training clearly aligns to Security Plus. So the job market by the numbers, let's take a look at what the data shows. The unemployment rate for the entire United States overall job market has been reported at 4.2%. And this is the June 2026 data that was released in July 2nd of 2026. So the most recent data that's out there. This includes that 57,000 jobs were added to the labor market just in June alone. And now just a caveat, this is non-farm roll payroll data for this 57,000 jobs. So it's not including farm workers, private household employees, nonprofit workers, and active duty military. But nonetheless, this 57,000 jobs list added in June is a cool down from the prior year hiring surges, so it's less. The initial jobless claims stayed relatively low at sitting around 215,000 per week. So what this is showing is that while there aren't mass layoffs, and while they're not spiking in a sense, while the number of mass layoffs is not spiking, economists are kind of calling this a low hire to low fire market, meaning that we're not seeing people getting laid off in droves, but nobody's aggressively hiring either. So it's kind of flatlining a little bit. 1.9 million Americans are long-term unemployed. So that just means 27 weeks or longer have not been employed, and they're actively trying and seeking to be employed. And that represents 20% of all unemployed people. This is the baseline. The 4.2 unemployment rate is a baseline number that we're going to compare against other sectors within the economy. For instance, to get some context, all of tech and computer and mathematical occupations, which is the parent grouping that cybersecurity falls under, is the unemployment rate there is 2.9%. So quite a bit lower than the national rate. In fact, it's, I think, a third below the national rate. And it's been under the tech and computer mathematical occupation unemployment rate has been under 3.5% every month in 2026. For instance, in April of this year, it was 3.5%, it was 3.1% in May, and 2.9% in June. This is, consistently underperforming in the sense of the unemployment rate is lower than the national rate. Employers added 47,000 tech workers in June alone, with active job postings topping 600,000 for a second straight month. So there is growth in cybersecurity. So even though the national market is somewhat cooling, tech skills are still in demand, and it is still a healthy, growing job market for cybersecurity analysts. But drilling deeper into specific cybersecurity analysts, because I want to foot stomp here that the tech company and mathematical occupations, or tech, computer, and mathematical occupations, is the parent group that the Bureau of Labor Statistics is reporting where cyber information security analyst falls under. Now, I know that cybersecurity is a massive career field, and we'll talk about that in this training. But for the Bureau of Labor Statistics, as far as the granularity that they drill down is information security analyst. That's the one job title for cybersecurity. And it just shows the depth of how many jobs the entire economy they are reporting on if cyber is drilled down to one, information security and analysts. But at this group, they are looking at 29% of projected growth between the next decade. So from 2024 to 2034, that's the projected job growth, 29%. And to put some context, that is the fastest growing computer occupation. So of all the other organization or career fields that are being reported under the tech and computer, information security analyst is the fastest growing one projected. The median wage for information security analysts is reported at 124,910. And I want to caveat, this is May 2024 data. It's the most recent published, but it still is a year behind in the actual reality of today. However, this is well above the 61,000 of all occupations, which is the national average. There are 514,359 cybersecurity jobs posting that this has been tracked over the past 12 months and reported through CyberSeek. The unemployment rate for information security analysts is a little less tangible, or a little less from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I wasn't able to find 2026 or 2025 data on that, or 2026 data really. However, U.S. Best Jobs in 2026, U.S. News Best Jobs reports that the unemployment rate for information security analysts is 0.8%. So significantly lower than the previous slide showing at 4.2 overall, at 2.9 for tech computers, and then drilling down to information security analysts, 0.8. Looking a little bit more at the pay. What does cybersecurity actually pay? And again, I just want to caveat that this is just overall individuals, depending on where you're working within your job title, also within the United States, there's higher cost of living areas, but overall, 124,000 for the median wage through the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Middle 80% of that, just to get more granular, is the range of 69,000 to 186,000. And so there's a wide range there. ISC Squared also reports a base salary across all cyber jobs, and they are reporting that at 157,000, and that's up 10% year over year. This middle slide shows the broken down where you are entering the job market, or not entering, but where you fall within the job market, the typical base salary ranges for that. So entry level is 55,000 to 85,000, mid-level, and that could include security engineers or analysts, just an example of some of the job titles there. But that range is 105 to 165,000. A senior, so maybe a cloud security lead or an architect, would be around 150,000 to 220,000. And then at the executive level, the CISO and above, 220,000 to 420,000. Wide range there. But again, job titles are going to vary wildly across industry. It's not so much the job title, so much as the responsibilities and the roles you're putting on, not the label that's on you. But here are some typical base ranges amongst the broken out by expertise. Taking a look at all the United occupations within the U.S., again, that 124 is the information security analyst median pay. Computer occupations, so that parent group that information security analyst falls under, the median pay is 105,990,000. Stacked up against all U.S. occupations at 49,000. So that just puts some context into how does it compare. There are many occupations that fall under, that reported under the IT and computer subgroup, parent grouping, and some of them are listed here. So, and as well as the median pay that could be associated with that. So if you want to think of it as the sister, the brother, career fields of information security analysts reported at the BLS level. So here's computer information system managers. Their median pay is 171,000. Software developers or QA analysts and testers, the median pay is 131,000. Computer network architects, 130,000. Information security analysts, 124,000. And database administrators and architects, the median pay is 123,000. I encourage you to go to the Occupational Outlook Handbook. It's available publicly online to look at other career fields, to drill deeper into the data. This is just a sampling of what they're reporting on. But it is a wealth of information if you at all want to look at other career fields or just kind of get a better feel for the career field you're in of what the data is showing. Let's take a look at the ISC Squared workforce study, where the previous information we've been reporting on through the Bureau of Labor Statistics has been focused on US data. One thing that differentiates this ISC Squared workforce study is they have gotten their information from respondents from a nationwide audience. They had over 16,000 practitioners from multiple countries, the United States, Latin America, Asia, Pacific, Europe, Middle East, Africa. So they've the world population. And so just wanted to show that this is looking at a global. It also comes from people who are working in the cybersecurity fields, typically at a higher level, more of an executive level. And so it just gives a good feel for what people are seeing in the field. They reported that they are seeing a 36% in budget cuts and 24% in layoffs in 2025. Both of these numbers are just down 1 point from the previous year. So showing that while the economic pressure had been, these numbers in previous years had been much higher. And so economic pressure is somewhat stabilizing and not worsening. 95% reported at least one skills gap on their team in 2025. And this is up from around 90% in the previous year's report. So we're seeing an increase in the percentage of skills gaps that people are seeing. And we'll talk in future slides about drill down to where those skills gaps are, like which skills specifically are they saying they need more of. 59% of the respondents say that their skills gap is critical or significant. This is sharply up from 44% in 2024. And 88% are saying that they have experienced at least one real negative consequence, such as a ransomware attack or security incident. And they're saying this is tied directly because they have a skill shortage, through that skill shortage. Some additional information that the ISC squared cybersecurity workforce study has reported is taking a look at how they feel about their current job. Like, are they satisfied? Where are they getting burned out? But the responses here is 68% have said that they are satisfied in their current role. This is up 2 points from the previous year's report. 80% say they're still passionate about working in cybersecurity, and which to me says they intend on staying within cybersecurity. 87% believe that there will always be a need for cybersecurity professionals. Honestly, I am surprised that's not like 99 or 100% because I personally think that, of course, there will always be a need to secure and defend our systems. Maybe I'm just pessimistic, and I think you got to get pessimistic in this field a little bit. But I don't see a world where we can trust everyone and no longer need to protect. But nonetheless, it's encouraging that there's some people who do, that it wasn't 100%. The next stat I wanted to call out is just that 66% of the people respondents said that they plan on staying with their current employer within the next year. And that is down from 75%. So that's a pretty, from the previous 2 years, that's a pretty big drop of people saying that, well, I'm still happy, I'm still passionate about working in cybersecurity. At least 80% said. A big percentage are saying that they don't expect to stay within their current employer in the next couple of years. So not happy with their current job. 48% say that they're exhausted and they feel exhausted trying to stay current on threats and emerging technologies. And then 47% feel overwhelmed by the workload, which I'm confident is contributing to being looking for a new job and saying that they will not probably staying in their current job in the next year. Where are those skills needed? AI was the most pressing skills need at 41%, followed by cloud security at 36%. These are the two top reported skills needed in this current study, but also the previous year's study, they were the top as well. Risk assessments is at 29%, application security 28%, as well as security, engineering, governance, risk, and compliance, so GRC is at 27%. Security analysts analysis at 26%, threat intelligence analysis 24%, zero trust 24%, and penetration testing 24%. Just as note, digital forensics and incident response climbed 3% year on year to 22%. Both of these were in the top 5 last year and are now holding lower positions. Quantum computing came in at the bottom of the list and not even listed in the top 10 of this one, so it didn't make the top 10, but it was at 17%. So the fact that quantum computing didn't make the top 10 is showing that it's still not a mainstream or accessible technology for many organizations outside the large enterprises in academia. And just lowering the criticality of the skill needed around quantum computing. However, I do see that as an emerging field. I expect to see that making this list at some point in the reporting. We'll see. Wanted to mention one thing that's different about this 2025 ISU workforce study. This year, they did not report the workforce gap. And why that's significant is all of the previous reports have been reporting a skills gap, saying this is how many jobs that we expect that cyber professionals are saying they need to secure their system. And then compared that against how many people are actually actively working in the field, and there you get the number. In 2024, it was 4.8 million. The skills gap was reported. However, this year, ISC Squared did not publish that, and they explicitly call it out, saying we did not create that number or publish that number, that workforce gap, simply because they're saying respondents to the studies have the past two studies have prioritized the need for critical skills, saying that's more important than the need for just raw people. So focusing on the skills gap, not the raw body, the workforce gap. What's significant about that is that the old number was never a count of open funded jobs to begin with. It was simply a survey question about how people felt. Do you need more people? Could you use more people? Not is there the budget or the funding or the intent to open up a job opening as a result of this need. So that's a significant contrast with CyberSeek's reporting of 514,000 jobs that is actually real. So if you want to see like a real number of jobs that are open, not just the projected vacancies, perceived vacancies. But bottom line is that the market still needs skills, but the budget behind the jobs needs to justify the need to and the ability to actually hire someone. But because of that 4.8, and also because the cybersecurity job market is strong and pays relatively high in comparison to other positions, many people getting into cybersecurity, getting education, getting certifications, getting the training, which is all good, but then could be very frustrating when they go to get that first entry level job and to actually break into the job market within cybersecurity. Some statistics on that, there's over less than 7,000 jobs openings in most entry level and mid-level career role categories combined. So that's nationwide job openings, both in the entry level and the mid-level. And put that into comparison with 24,000 jobs in the higher level, the senior and the experienced categories. There are 38% of organizations say that credential requirements or set credential requirements that are not realistic for a true entry level candidate. So for what that could means is they might say we're looking for a junior SOC analyst or entry level cybersecurity analyst, and then say you need 3 or 2 to 5 years of experience. Well, someone brand new is not going to have any experience, and so not going to be able to meet that requirement. Another stat is 31% of cybersecurity teams are saying that they have 0 dedicated entry level or junior staff at all. So it just kind of shows that the proportion of where the employment force is it's higher to, there's a higher proportion of cyber professionals in a higher level career field, a higher level position, and the entry level demand is lower. And that's only going to be exacerbated by artificial intelligence that we will be talking about the next section. Artificial intelligence is a great game changer. I call it good. I know that it can be very polarizing in how you perceive it, because it can also be scary because it can impact people's jobs. And anytime there's change, it can be unsettling. I've talked to some neighbors and to some people who are not excited and they feel threatened by it. They don't want their job taken. But I encourage you to have a positive attitude on AI's ability to help you doing your existing job better. If you resist it, you're going to get bowled over. It's coming. It's here. You either embrace it, learn it, and incorporate it and help you be a better performer, and continue to stay relevant and just embrace it. It's here. It's a good thing. However, it is changing. It's changing the whole industry, not just cybersecurity, but the entire job market. Jeff Plume is a IBM cybersecurity trainer, and I enjoy hearing what he has to say. So just a shout out to him. But he has a good analogy of anytime that over the entire economy or the entire history, we've had these types of changes. For instance, we used to have candle makers. The candle makers, when electricity came along, no longer needed to do their job at the same level. We need less candle makers. However, how many jobs did electricity and that whole new technology create? Well, massive, right? So if you're a candle maker, you either needed to get trained up, get a new skill, or find out how to where your existing skill set is still relevant. A little tangential there, but again, embrace it. It's here. It's good. But here is a look at, from the ISC squared cybersecurity workforce study, how AI is already changing how we do our job. So 41% of the respondents, again, cited AI as a top critical skill. And it was the #1 skill name for the past 2 years in a row, and just ahead of cloud security that was reported at 36%. 73% believe that AI will create the need for more specialized cybersecurity skills. 72% say that AI will require a more strategic cybersecurity mindset, so less rote and some of the more routine, menial tasks that we are computing with our brain and can be done far better and faster with an AI-assisted machine, which frees up our ability to have more of the critical look. We have more context around than the system has data in, and so we can make some better judgment calls of what's actually happening with AI-assisted data. 66% of respondents said that AI will require a broader skill set across the whole workforce. So not just specialists, but all of us will need to get have a broader skill set. So again, in practice, AI is absorbing the repetitive work, some of the routine things that we do, such as first pass alert triage or log correlation, and then it frees up analysts to divert their energy to more of the judgment calls. Is this really a threat? Am I seeing some information, or at least I know some context, and what should I do about it? Who do I call? What do I do? I wanted to give some resources of how you can specifically learn more about AI and how you can sharpen your career. If you're already in cybersecurity, I'm positive you're interested in learning how to keep learning with AI. So AI machine learning, and there are some roles that are also exist simply because AI is here. There are a lot of cybersecurity roles that AI can assist with, existing jobs, but then AI itself has created new roles. This is not comprehensive. It's just a list of some of them. But for example, AI machine learning security engineer, this secures the models and the pipelines themselves. So not just the systems around them. AI governance and risk analysts is just looking at the compliance and policies and all the oversight structure of how an organization is using AI safely, and just making sure that they're implementing that within their existing policies, and that the policies and compliance documentation is updated accordingly. An adversarial AI prompt injection red teamer. This is using or attacking the AI systems themselves on purpose, looking at penetration testing on the AI systems, data poison, the model extraction, And we're looking to find the holes in those systems and where it's vulnerable before malicious attackers do, so that we can do something about that, defend it, protect it. Another role that exists because of AI is AI augmented threat intelligence and analyst. And this is just using AI and AI systems to process far more data and threat intelligence data than a human ever could. Then using AI to validate and contextualize it. Again, these are just some information about some of the roles that are existing because of AI. But I wanted to just make an observation here. I think that how we're seeing AI jobs is going to shift. This is just my opinion, but I think because the AI fluency is so rare right now, because people are getting spun up on, using it to enhance their existing job. So we're seeing currently a lot more AI jobs specifically tied to current positions. And that I think that as it becomes more mainstream and as it's just more of a given that of course I use AI just to enhance my ability to do my job, just as I use Microsoft Teams or whatever tools you're using as a business development tool. I think AI tools are just going to get integrated in that as well. So I think in the future, we're going to see fewer standalone job titles that, have like AI SOC analyst, AI cyber jobs, not because the AI is getting useless. In fact, it's going to be used more, but it's just more of a given that, of course, you're using it within that job. So that's just my take on it. We'll see. But I do think that the winners of the next decade won't be AI people. They'll be security practitioners, security professionals who are fluent with AI. I think everyone needs to be fluent with AI. And that leads me to some resources to go to get more education and to get more specific training on artificial intelligence within a cybersecurity context. Again, this is obviously not comprehensive, but here are some good resources to start with, especially if you're already working in the cybersecurity field. This is a place to start. CompTIA Security AI has released this training, the CompTIA Sec AI Plus, and it is for people who are genuinely new to the AI field. No formal prerequisite, but it is built for Security Plus or CYSA Plus level experience. It was just launched in February of this year, 2026, so just a few months ago. It covers securing AI systems, and 40% of their material covers that. It also has AI-assisted security operations. That's 24%. And so that's just, how can what we're currently doing be assisted with AI? It has AI governance, risk compliance, that's at 19%. And then just the overall basic AI concepts and terminology is at 17%. So that's a good place to start. ISACA also has an advanced in AI security management certificate program. This one's at a higher level. It requires a CISM or CISSP. This is for more management and just a board level for an individual for leading AI security programs. And so again, this stacks on top of the cert that you already hold if you have a CISM or a CISSP. Another resource is ISC Squared AI Security Certificate. This one has no exam. It's self-paced, so it's just a learning objective, but it takes around 16 hours to get through. And when you're finished with it, you get a CPE credit and a creditly badge. So just a low-lift way for CISSP holders to get into AI literacy and to have some documentation showing that they went through a course. SANS also has some AI training materials with GIAC AI Security Track. SANS has a lot of hands-on technical training, and this particular security is continuing to be developed, but it will roll out throughout this year, 2026. So this is a great fit if you want more deep, practical, hands-on technical AI training over the management credential. Now, if you are new to cyber, more for maybe a career changer or someone, a student, or just someone looking to get into the cybersecurity field. Here are some foundational cyber certs to start with. So CompTIA Security Plus, highly recommend that one. There's no prerequisites. You don't have to have a tech background. It helps you, of course, but if you're willing to study, learn, and just work hard, that is a good certificate to start with. It's the standard entry point across nearly every industry. The military, the government recognizes it and requires many of their practitioners to have it. It's one of the most called out credential that job postings are asking for. Google's cybersecurity certificate is another good place to start. It's through Coursera. It's beginner friendly, again, self-paced, and it takes roughly 3 to 6 months to get through it, and how fast you push yourself can drastically impact that range, or how much time you have. And this is built for people who have no IT background, so it's a great place to start if that's you. Google AI Essentials is, I like how they coined it, AI is for everyone. And that's a Coursera course. It's free to audit. I love that. No coding required. Of course, I'm sure it helped, but this is just built to build your working AI literacy. So it's a fast, low cost, it's free way to get context and language familiarity before going deeper into some of the other certifications. Microsoft Azure AI Fundamentals is another good course. This is vendor backed, of course, with the Microsoft Azure title there. It does cost around $165 to take the exam, but it covers machine learning basics, AI workloads, and responsible AI. Again, no programming needed for that. IAAP, IAGP, so it's the AI governance professionals, is a good place to go if you're more drawn to the policies and procedures and the GRC side of the AI rather than the hands-on technical side. And there's no formal prerequisites for this one. So that's just some context to get you thinking. Of course, there's so many resources out there. If you just Google it, YouTube videos, dark zebra trainings, many things that are out there to help you learn, to get information and to learn and to grow. You drive it. And I'm a huge proponent of always learning, have that a foundational part of your life. So how vast is cybersecurity, Phil? As I mentioned, I love cyber personally because I get bored. I cannot do the same thing for my whole career. I could stay in the same field, but like I want change, I want growth, I want learning. So this is a mind map of cybersecurity domains that I love. I love the look, I love the simplicity, and I love the detail while having simplicity. It was created by Henry Jiang originally in 2017. He's revised it since then. But he released it to the world through LinkedIn and kindly said that use it as you need to. Just give me credit. So Henry Jiang, thank you for developing this. We're going to walk through it. In the middle, we have the cybersecurity domains. And then you have, let's stop at the blue at the bottom. You have training, new skills, user education. Actually, this is user education. So the whole education side of it. Cybersecurity tabletop exercises, awareness, training. It's the education of the workforce itself within a corporation or organization. There's demand for jobs in every one of these bubbles. These are just obviously not comprehensive, but get you thinking. Yellow on the left, we have security operations. And that's where your SOC teams would land. You have your penetration testers with your blue team, red team, advanced defense. In the pink on the left, physical security. That's an area that sometimes gets overlooked in the sense of it's a whole domain in itself. Your security guards, your perimeters, your physical fences. But it goes hand in hand with cybersecurity, and it is a part of cybersecurity. But yeah, Internet of Things security, that's securing devices, making sure that anything that has that's networked, such as cars or even fridges, toasters, you name it. We're getting technology embedded into everything. How are those secured? And from a health sector, like the devices, the medical devices that have technology, it becomes even more critical to make sure that they are designed with security in mind. The blue on the top, career development, trainings, these types of trainings, peer groups, conferences. I encourage you to go to a conference. All of these are good places to learn, but also good places if you're looking for career change. If education is something that appeals to you to actually be the educator, there's many resources out there for you. Top above that, you have security architecture in the light orange. That's just looking at the development of the actual systems themselves. Was security implemented from the get-go, or is it something that the system was built years ago, like 30, 20 years ago, with less or no cybersecurity thoughts? Are you bolting it on after the fact? But all of this talks to that. So cryptography, access control. How are we accessing, making sure that people aren't able to get to the systems until we validated that they belong and they should have access to it. And the yellow here is the frameworks and standards. That's massive in itself, where you have many of the compliance documentation, such as NIST cybersecurity frameworks, the OWASP top 10, and so forth. The orange on the right above that, application security. So cloud-based or even desktop-based, how are they secured? Are they written in, is the code secure? Is it written with security in mind? So API security, data flow, and so forth. The pink, the salmon, risk assessments, vulnerability scanning, FAST, third-party risks, risk monitoring, and so forth. And I want to mention too that these aren't complete standalone, like there's some overlap in all of these. You're going to have some kind of education component for all of it, but nonetheless, there's a good categories. Enterprise risk management, looking at the whole organization, cyber insurance, for the SOC audits, process owners, crisis management, how's your organization, data backups, governance. That's a huge field in itself. And so that's where you have the laws and the regulations. Are they caught up? It takes time for laws and policies to, technology moves faster than sometimes the documentation and the laws themselves. So that's a massive area there. This is also where the industry specific standards reside. So PCI for secure payment processing of credit cards and just payment processing, HIPAA, making sure that healthcare data is securely accessed or saved securely and processed securely, GDPR and so forth. There's also nationwide standards. You know, this is looking at like the HIPAA is United States, but there's other governments and other organizations that have their own. So international cybersecurity is an area that would fall under here as well. So just to get you thinking, obviously not comprehensive, but a good place to start. And if you're not happy, if you're looking for a change, look through some of these and see what interests you. And just kind of be thinking. This next slide has another layout, another visual of in a more simplified form, but again, it just shows you cloud security, just an idea of some of the areas. Cybersecurity really is a field for whatever your strength is. If you're coming from an area of whatever your background is, you can find current skills that you have that transition somehow to cybersecurity and use that as a pivot, use it as a turning point. And for example, if you are a technical writer, guess what? There's so much writing and policies and documentation and things that being able to clearly articulate that within cybersecurity, that skill is needed. Penetration testers have to do reports, government risk and compliance, you're writing documentation and policies, anyway, huge. Another example, let's say you're in car sales. I know people who have transitioned into the cybersecurity career fields that were in the car sales before. The car industry needs to be secured. We have devices that are coming out that are, cars that have more electronics and more computers built in. We also, the actual dealerships themselves need process information with, there's a whole security industry around cars. So wherever your field is, wherever you're coming from, you have current skills that can be valuable and put into play in cybersecurity. Don't undersell yourself. I wanted to end out with just looking at the cybersecurity domains within Security Plus. These are the learning objectives. And so any of the learning objectives can also fall to career fields within cybersecurity. For instance, we have the first domain is general security concepts, and that is a 12% weight within the Security Plus. So that's just covering security awareness, trainers, IT security career changers, threats and vulnerabilities, mitigation. So that's some examples of some jobs that could go have value in this area is SOC analysts, vulnerability management, security architecture, as the name implies, security architects, cloud security engineering. The fourth domain is security operations at 28% weight. So SOC analysts, incident responders, security engineers. And then the fifth domain is security program management and oversight. So compliance analysts, risk analysts, IT auditors, the CISO track. There's some blend over in all of these. Like I think anyone within the cybersecurity, any career field, any job title, any job you're doing that would be applicable to the general security concepts. It all falls under, are we securing the data? Are we processing? Are we transitioning the data securely? Here's another look at for this particular training within the job market and careers in cybersecurity. I think the first domain, again, general security concepts is foundational literacy, the foundational concepts for any cyber career field. Then the fifth domain, security program management and oversight, where you're looking at the governing of the AI, making sure your security programs are implemented with correctly, and then just the worksite and the oversight of that governance. Again, your attendance, if you this wraps up our training today. Thank you so much for attending. I know you have much to do with your time and day. We're all busy, but thank you for taking the time to invest in yourself and to learn more about your career field or a career field that you might be interested in getting in. And also looking at how artificial intelligence is impacting that. If you're attending live, and if you'd like to receive a certificate of attendance that you can use towards your Security Plus, cyber certification, or other certifications that this course material would be applicable to, just go to darkzebra.com to take a look at how to purchase that certificate. We also have ongoing trainings that some of them are the full training for the CEU attendance, and others are just for learning. But take a look at our site and look at what other trainings we have coming up and jump on another training. We'd love to see you. Another thing I wanted to mention is if you are maintaining your cyber certification, you can sign up to get an automatic invite to the next training. And so it could be a set and forget when you have to maintain your cyber certification, when the CEU Security Plus is a 3-year cycle. So I don't want you to get to that 3 years and be panicked or stressed of, you can't in the back, you can't do this in the back. This is something that you have to do ongoing going forward. So if you sign up for our ongoing trainings, that is an automatic. Once you'll be able to be done with all your CEUs just because you put it on a cycle. Another thing I wanted to mention is if you have any questions or want to reach out to us, we love hearing from people. At darkzebra.com, we have contact. You can ask a question, reach out to us. We love hearing. We respond to everyone. We read everything personally. Also want to just build a community. If you want to connect with me, go on linkedin.com or just LinkedIn. Find me, Dark Zebra, Kimberly Farmer. Would love to connect and love to help you on your journey if that is something I can help you with. Thanks again for attending. Have a great day and hope to catch you on the next training.